Feel like your marketing is just shouting into the void? Wondering why SEO isn't bringing in clients anymore? Spoiler alert, AI ate your search rank. In this video, I break down why your traffic may have slowed, what actually needs fixing, and how to stop doing all the things. I'm Dr. Kate Walker. If this is your first time hanging out with me, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And we are looking at ways that you can improve your marketing. So just a little bit of background. Everything's changed with AI is here. And we all know that to create website copy. And I will show you how to use that for website copy. And I'm going to do some other intensives this summer to help you out with that. But the way it's really affected us is with SEO, search rankings. And so if you're not up to date with your marketing, or if you're noticing a lull in your client load, it's because we have to shift gears. If you are still relying on SEO, what's happening, and I'm going to probably say this every night. So if you signed up for all 4 nights, you're going to hear me say this multiple times. You will see AI's response number one. When somebody Googles grief counselor in my area specializes in pet loss, you will see an answer from AI first. Then you will see National Institute of Mental Health, universities, etc. Then you'll see the PhDs and the doctors. Then you will finally see the mental health practices. So you may be doing a fantastic job with SEO, and I'm still going to talk about content and copy, but I'm going to talk about it in a different way. So if you signed up for tonight, you're still going to get the marketing audit and figure out what's going on or what's not working. So what I don't want you to do is to just burn it all down or throw the baby out with the bathwater. We're just going to refine, repackage, and re-promote what you already sell. We're going to do this so you're just not overwhelmed. A lot of times you go to things like this and it's too much and you don't know where to start. That's not my goal. That's not how I teach. I want you to leave with actionable steps, because you don't need more. You just need a different strategy. And if you're struggling to get traction with your marketing, if you're second guessing your pricing, come back. You're tired of blogging or creating content to crickets. I call it rocks off the Grand Canyon. You just don't feel like you're getting any responses, and you want to increase your income. And I do use the I word. I'm going to talk about income. I'm going to talk about pricing. I'm going to talk about profit. If you heard me speak at the TASES conference this year, you know, one of the things I said on my panel was my little part was, look, we didn't take a vow of poverty. We've got to be able to pay our bills. It's not sustainable. You are all good at what you do. You're no good to anybody if you go out of business because you're broke. So yes, I am going to talk about income. So today is called Diagnosing the Gap. Now, if you're on your computer, if you happen to be on your computer, I have put 2 resources into your profile. And you know where your profile is if you found this Zoom link. You were able to log into your Kate Walker training profile. And I added 2 resources. One is the marketing audit, and the other one is a self-assessment to see how your marketing is doing. So you can do that while we're talking, or you can do it later and I'll walk you through it. What I'm going to walk you through are just the mistakes people are making. And then you could kind of, if you want to print out the audit, does anybody have printers anymore? I mean, we still have to have printers. I made it a Word document. I didn't even make it a PDF so that you can follow along and you can take notes. So I hope you see that. Again, if you're not on your computer, if you're on your phone or in your car, don't worry about that. But the resources are in your profile so you can get the marketing audit. The takeaway from tonight, I'm going to go ahead and skip to that real quick. What I want you to leave here tonight with is a clear understanding of what's missing or underperforming in your current marketing. I want you to have clarity on whether your website, messaging, pricing, or visibility is the bottleneck, because it's hard to know what the problem is. I want you to have a snapshot of what to fix first. I don't want you wasting time on things like TikTok and Instagram, and you'll hear me talk about that. And the marketing self-assessment, like I said, you've got that in your resources, but I did add one more, which is just a little marketing, the marketing audit and the self-assessment. I made them into two resources. It's just for different ways that people think. So let's jump up to, and if you're here for tomorrow we will refine the message. You're going to learn how to turn a counseling shopper into someone that actually takes action. And I do call it the irresistible client attractor because it's a super salesy name. And that's what we're kind of trying to get over, is this idea that we don't want to sound salesy, but at the same time, we're still having to sell. It's just where we are. Oh, good. We got somebody who printed. Go, Kim. Day 3. Pricing for profit. This is it's an Excel spreadsheet that I give to my students when I teach. It depends if it's an MFT course or not, but there's a course where I do teach the business of therapy along with other K-Crep stuff. I kind of sneak it in. And this is a calculator that I give my students so that they understand exactly how many clients they need, what they can charge, they can play with the numbers, and they can come up with a price that feeds them and doesn't put them out of business and still matches what's happening in their community. And then finally, promo like a pro, we're just going to craft the messaging. You're going to have a strategy that you can walk away with. Again, I don't want you to throw out what you have. I want you to be able to take what you have. So if you were able to print while I was going through what's coming up, great. If you weren't, that's okay. I'm going to stop the share. And I'm going to pull up for me. I'm going to talk about the 10 common marketing mistakes. And I'm going to make this really big so I can share my screen and you guys can not jump ahead. All right. So Casey, you don't have it in your products. If you click on the actual day 1, it's there, or it should be there. So if you click on day 1, the actual product, yeah, and if you don't have it, don't worry, we will make sure you get it. But those of you, again, if you've been with me, you know that I'm breaking up with email. Spam catchers are too powerful. All right, so you should see, yeah. So 10 common private practice marketing mistakes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the niche, and because I think you can pretty much Google and get AI to give you an answer on that. And it's terrifying to come up with a niche. Yes, this is where the money is. Just whenever you're ready to take that leap, this is absolutely where the money is. And if you don't have a clear niche, if you're a generalist, it's still okay, right? I'm not going to put that out as a mistake, but if you have a big practice and you hire lots of people and they're not niching down, that can be a problem. The way I'm going to talk about this is how it affects your website copy. Okay. And if you are looking for, a volleyball camp for your kiddo, and you Google volleyball camp and you get a website that's kind of like sports, like we do sports, and you're having to dig and you're having to dig, and finally you find the section on volleyball, You may have the patience for that, but what we know about our clients is when anxiety goes up, cognition goes down. Their ability to be patient, their ability to explore below the fold. Now, below the fold, I want you to think in terms of the good old days when there was a brochure. We have above the fold, which is if you picked up a brochure, that's what you would see first. That's what would emotionally grab you and give you a way to take action. Websites don't have that. But when we say above the fold, we have your PC above the fold, but y'all, nobody's on their PC, they're on their phone. If you have not looked at your phone and looked at your website on your phone in a hot minute, you may have problems. Your website should be responsive and look to see what's above the fold. I bet 90% of you, if you looked at above the fold on your phone, it's a giant title or a giant practice motto, like your tagline or something like that. How long do people have to scroll? So I'm going to talk about niche when it comes to your website copy, and I'm going to show you how to use AI for that, which brings to number 2, weak website copy. Right? If you're not able to talk about what clients can expect, and you're talking too much about you and your education and your certifications, I mean, yes, you will have clients that are able to shop and they're looking for EMDR, they're looking for Gottman trained or Imago trained. But if you're looking, and I'm going to go ahead and put it here, you have 2 types of clients. You have clients that know therapy, they love therapy, and they are looking for a certain type of therapy. They maybe had it in the past, maybe they're counselors themselves, and they are looking for a particular type of certification. Or you've got somebody in crisis and they needed you yesterday. So I want you to think about your copy right now. Are you talking to people in crisis or are you talking to shoppers? Either way is fine. You're just going to have a different runway. And when I say runway, I mean the number of times that person is going to have to come in contact with your website copy and your website resources. All right, remember, we've got to change our copy. This isn't about, and I'm going to use a fishing analogy, this is not about having the shiniest lure. You're not going to win that battle. AI is winning that battle. National Institute of Mental Health and the universities are winning that battle. What you're trying to do is create an environment that your clients feel like they are connected to someone who can help them today. All right, I'm going to say that again. You're creating an environment where your clients feel like, potential clients feel like they're able to connect with you today. So your website copy, if you want to go to AI, and I'll share my screen. All right, I'm going to say, give me website copy that attracts a client who needs help counseling for their teenage daughter. They just found a marijuana pot pipe in their bedroom. Client has never had counseling before. Yeah, let's just leave it with that. All right, let's see. Boom. Okay, does everyone see what we've got here? It's not trying to talk anybody into counseling. It's not trying to say, hey, this is who I am. It's saying, okay, I'm going to meet you at this emotion. Now, for me personally, this is too wordy. I would have many less words. But for the niche, for the website copy, you see, if you didn't have a niche, if you don't work with a particular population, if you were just going to put in here, uh, give me counseling website copy. You still get some answers, right? ChatGPT is not going to leave you hanging, right? But remember, if you are just relying on your location, your modality, in person, webcam, and just the fact that you are a counselor, you're going to be with all the other shiny objects, and folks are going to be there. It's a lot. Remember, anxiety's up, cognition is down. If you have a clear niche, then you can plug something like that into ChatGPT. And this will also help when we start creating resources for your website. Remember, you're not just creating a billboard. You're not just creating a brochure. You're creating an environment where your shoppers, folks who are looking and they have the time and they have the resources to look, where they feel comfortable and connected, but you're also creating an environment for someone who's in crisis and they needed you yesterday to feel like you are their person. All right, I'm going to stop the share. And let's go back to the mistakes. All right, so let's talk about what I mentioned before and what ChatGPT showed us, a CTA, no call to action. A lot of you just have, well, okay, here's what I've heard that you guys have. You have lots of things. You have a website form, you have an email, you have a phone number, you maybe allow texting, so you've got all these different ways to contact you, which is, that can be overwhelming, but you may not have anything. You may just have a phone number, right? In that example just a second ago with ChatGPT, I'm going to pull this up. I don't think you guys can see it, but it says schedule a free consultation or call now. I know that sounds super simplistic, but what that's called is a call to action. So for the folks who are shopping, who have time to look, you can say, grab this free resource. For the folks that are like, no, I needed you yesterday, you're going to say, okay, talk to somebody today. Okay, so no call to action is another mistake. Y'all give me a thumbs up if you can see. Okay, I think you can see where it says over reliance on psychology today. Yeah, Psychology Today, I went ahead and included it. I don't know how big of a problem it is. Psychology Today used to be the thing because they paid the big bucks to put themselves in the top ranks. And they're struggling the same way the rest of us are. They're getting slammed by things like BetterHelp and all, they could just put more, the bigger companies can put more money into their SEO, their search engine optimization. Also, you've got people who, they're going to go to the zip code that they can get the most business, right? And so I don't think I'm talking to anybody here about this, but I will be talking in a couple of days about how to improve your Psychology Today listing so that it's more attractive, because that's really what we're doing here, right? I do want you to be the shiniest object while you're creating this amazing environment. Underpricing your services. This is anything from people who post their prices. So let me tell you what's wrong with posting your price. When you post your price, you're not allowing for an emotional connection. That idea that someone could connect with you and you could work together to figure out a way to help them And remember, if that person, it's not, a lot of people, if they're not a good fit based on price, they can still become a referral for you, a referral source. And I know I've got people on this call who have been practicing a long time, who've had people say, you know what, I wasn't, my friend Joni, she wasn't able to work with you, but man, she was so impressed with the resources you provided. And you spent time with her and you explained to her how therapy worked. And she was so disappointed she couldn't work with you, but she can't stop talking about you to everybody at the PTO. So when you post your prices, you are missing the opportunity to connect with people and possibly turn them into a referral source. One thing that we don't talk about in marketing with counselors is lead magnets or email lists, because we're all terrified of email. We think we're all going to break HIPAA somehow if we're using email. But I want you to, and I'm going to just use myself as an example. Tonight, I looked up the perfect garlic potato recipe. And when I pull up the garlic potato recipe, I'm like, ooh, there's a vegan garlic potato recipe. I'm not a vegan, but I'm like, huh, let's click on that. And it's like, oh my gosh, this person has vegan meatloaf, vegan potatoes, vegan, whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to sign up for this person's email. I need to know. And honest to goodness, there is someone I signed up for. It's The Lost Kitchen. She's in Freedom, Maine. She wrote a book. I mean, oh my gosh, I get it. It's one of the very few newsletters I get. But when I'm a fan, I need more. So imagine if all this stuff I'm telling you to do, you did it and it actually worked. Okay, you're like, oh my gosh, this is great. I've got people talking about me in the community. I'm positioning myself as an expert. And then you got nothing else. The only thing out there worth anything is our people's attention. If you don't have anything else, people they're going to lose attention. They're going to keep looking. So if you're working, if your niche is shoppers, if you're working with people, you're trying to work with people who take longer to decide, you're going to want to have resources. You're going to want to have checklists. You're going to want to have newsletters. You're going to want to do webinars, perhaps. Maybe you want to do a Facebook group and do Facebook Lives. You're going to want to have ways that people can connect with you on a regular basis. Inconsistent branding, I don't know. My example for this is back to the sports websites. If you're looking for a sports website, you know you're on a sports website. You know, it's going to have like cool fonts and everything looks like it's in motion, and it's going to have pictures of sports and outdoors. So just make sure everything's consistent. A lot of times, one of the things I want to talk about this summer is how to create a dashboard. If you have no way to quickly tell if that thing you're doing on page 2 of your website, where you're talking about how to grieve the loss of a pet over the holidays, 10 ways that you can cope with it, and you don't have any way to tell if that's actually driving clients to make the phone call, text you, fill out the form, then you are losing the opportunity to know it's working. I know so many counselors who tell me, I need a social media manager. I'm like, how do you even know Instagram is working? When I have an Instagram post, I use something called a pretty link. I embed the pretty link into the Instagram so that I can, every single campaign that I put on Instagram, I could tell you how many people clicked on my website. And it's easy. It's called Pretty Links. Go there, prettylinks.com. You can use tracking links. Bitly does the same thing. So having a way to track what you're doing to see what turns into actual phone calls. If you don't have that, you're missing out. Which brings me to focusing only on social media. How many of you have heard of people just having their website their page or their group randomly taken down? Just for no reason. Facebook just decides you broke our rules or something. Sometimes I'll get notifications from Facebook from posts 3 years ago. and it says, this post has gone against our community standards. You're at risk for being taken down. I have 5,000 people in the Texas Counselors Creating Badass Businesses Facebook group. If I just relied on that for business and they took that away, oh my gosh, that would ruin me. But I don't. Social media is rented space. Your website, your domain, and your email list, those belong to you. And then finally, marketing only when things are slow. And that's why I do this stuff in the summertime, because I know things are slow. And I know this is the time of year when people are like, oh my gosh, I need to get my butt in gear and change some things. All right. So if you've had a chance to look at your own marketing audit, great. If not, I want to open it up for questions. If this helped you see your practice with new eyes, hit like, tap subscribe, and stick around for the Smart Practice Sprint Day 2. You can also grab your free guide to setting up your private practice by going to katewalkertraining.com/free guide. Your next client is one good strategy away.